Hey everybody, Cougar here with a beginner's quick start guide for the fun little indie game Bomber Crew by RunnerDuck and Curve Digital. The game does not have a manual, but if you look here in the lower left hand corner, click on the menu button, the how to play button. This has a lot of good information in here. If you're a new player, you definitely want to check this out before taking to the skies for the very first time. For now, I'll just quickly show you around this screen. We've got our intel up here. We've got 0 intel right now. You gain intel by completing photographic recon runs and completing missions. We've got 2,000 pounds in the bank. Unfortunately, there's not much that we can spend that on right now because we haven't unlocked any good stuff. Down here on the bottom, all this stuff is pretty self-explanatory. Recruit new crew members here if you lose some in action. Upgrade your crew's gear here. You can give them better armor, better thermal protection, better oxygen supplies, that kind of stuff. As your crew levels up, you can train them. You'll be offered different options of skills to supply them with. Here's your aircraft hangar where you can upgrade all sorts of stuff on your aircraft, including your gun turrets, electrical systems, equipment, fuselage survival. Down here, more stuff will unlock as you progress through the game, including engines, important stuff like that. For now, though, let's jump right to the briefing. Wing Commander Biggins is offering us 3 targets to choose from today. We've got a downed Spitfire out in the channel. We can drop him some supplies. We've got a motor factory that we can bomb at Zeebrugge. We've got 2 ammo dumps that we can bomb along the coast here. Notice that this mission offers us a bonus perk if we complete it successfully that will lower the enemy damage for the next 2 missions. Now that sounds great, but that means that the mission is a little bit harder, so let's go with the easiest mission for our very first beginner's mission here. It's this search and rescue out in the channel. Let's go ahead and get to the tarmac. I'll show you around this screen and the interior of the plane really quickly. In the upper left-hand corner, here is your slow time meter. You can hold the control button to slow time if stuff starts getting a little bit hectic and you need to slow things down a little bit. Over here, you've got your entire crew. These correspond to hotkeys 1 through 7. Your pilot is number 1. Engineer number 2, navigator number 3, radio operator. Wing Commander Biggins offering us some advice. Supplies must be dropped from low altitude. The container has a parachute. It will drift if dropped too high. Good to know, Wing Commander Biggins. Back over here on our crew station, pilot, engineer, navigator, radio operator, tail gunner, dorsal gunner, nose gunner, who is also your bombardier. Down underneath that, you've got your airplane status display. These are your electrical systems, your hydraulics, your oxygen, and your fuel. This diagram will also show you when you start taking damage to the aircraft, your engines, your fuel tanks, your fuselage, etc. Upper right-hand corner, you've got time controls. These operate only when over friendly territory. XP meter, and your current mission goals. This will change. Your mission goals may change as you progress through the mission, so you definitely want to keep an eye up here. Down in the lower right-hand corner, you've got your radar. This is one of the systems that you can upgrade on the aircraft. This is the basic radar right now. It will show you incoming fighters. You've got a temperature gauge and an oxygen gauge. These only come into play when you start making runs at high altitude, which we're not going to as beginners. Inside the aircraft, we've got 2 equipment racks to start out with. This one has a first aid kit. This one has a fire extinguisher. As you progress through the game, you can install more equipment racks throughout the plane and upgrade these to have more equipment stored on them. In the middle of the plane, you've got your ammo resupply box. This is where your gunners are going to come to restock their ammo. You've got a medical bed. As crew members get injured, you can send them back here to the medical bed for treatment. Here's your radio station, your navigator station, your engineer station, your pilot, and your nose gunner, who, as I said, is also your bombardier. If I select the nose gunner right now, move him down into the bomber station. This opens up new options down here on the lower panel. Take a recon photograph, open your bomb bay doors, select your bomb. In this case, it's just supplies. And your release button. This will turn green when everything is set up to release your bomb or your supplies, whatever you're dropping. That will turn green when your doors are open and you've selected one of your bombs. For now, though, let's get right to the pilot. Before we take off, an important thing to do, let's get our resupply. Let's resupply our gunners. Our gunners start with 2 boxes of ammo, but if you send them back to the resupply before you even take off, they now have 3 boxes of ammo. So you definitely want to get them resupplied before you even take off. Sending him back to the gunner station. Now we can select our pilot using 1 as our hotkey and take off. Now you see down here on the pilot's panel, we've got stuff that's locked simply because we're on the ground, like our landing gear and our emergency actions, and other stuff that will unlock as you level up your pilot. As soon as we take off, we can raise our gear. Now we can go to focus mode by using the space bar or the middle mouse button. This is focus mode. We'll find our navigation marker, hover over that, and it automatically selects our navigation marker. Now we're heading to a new waypoint. A couple of important things to keep in mind as a beginner is that there's a lot of multitasking involved in this game. But in these beginner scenarios, multitasking is not necessarily something that you have to do. You can usually choose between doing one thing or another. Say you get bounced by fighters just as you're setting up on your bomb run. That does not mean that you have to complete the bomb run and engage the fighters at the same time. There's no timer running here other than the timer involved in how much fuel is in your airplane's fuel tanks. So if you want to say, blow off this bombing run and let's just focus on taking down these fighters right now, you can do that and then come back and complete the bombing run once the fighters are taken care of. We should be getting a new nav marker any time now. In fact, if we select our navigator station, you can see that we have a map here and it's counting down to our next waypoint appearing. There's our next waypoint. Focus mode again is the space bar or the middle mouse button. Let's get back to our pilot for now. That music means something spooky is about to happen, maybe. Another goal has popped up here. Under drop supplies, we now have to clear the area of enemies in the upper right-hand corner, see? So, because this is our first mission, don't be under the impression that you have to do both of these things at the same time, okay? Let's focus on one or the other. Right now, I think our there's the drop that we have to make. There's the Spitfire pilot right there. But I'll bet as soon as we select this, we're probably going to get an alert that enemy fighters have been spotted on the radar. Our radio operator is telling us that there are enemy fighters out there. So let's go to focus mode, find the fighters. They're going to be up here somewhere. There they are. Hover our focus mode there until it tags these enemy fighters. Your gunners will not engage any enemy fighters until they are tagged. More enemy fighters showing up on our radar, apparently off to our 2 o'clock. There they are. Let's tag them as well. Because the secondary goal here is to clear the area of enemies, let's just focus on taking out these fighters right now, okay? We're in no hurry to drop that stuff to the Spitfire pilot. He looked like he was doing okay there on his own. We can circle back around toward that other navigation waypoint, just so we don't get too far away from him and burn too much gas. But we've got all our gunners engaging these guys, and they're doing a fairly good job on these early low-level fighters. We've got more enemy fighters spotted. Our radio operator is alerting us to that. So let's try and find where they are and get them tagged right away. Alright, they're all tagged. And they're going down at a fairly good clip here, because we've got all of our gunners in their seats. If we took our nose gunner out and put him in the bombardier position, we would not be taking these fighters down quite as quickly, which could be a problem. That's where the multitasking thing comes in. All right, one of our gunners is out of ammo. We're going to select him on the left-hand panel and hit R to make him automatically resupply. All right, there's only one fighter left at this point. I think we're safe to go ahead and set up on our resupply drop run. So let's select that as our waypoint, go to our bombardier station, move him down from the gun into the bomb station, open our bomb bay doors, select the supplies as what we're going to drop. Now, our tail gunner is out of ammo, but I don't want to worry about him right now because we're about to drop our supplies. One thing at a time on these early missions. Boom. All right, we've dropped supplies. That's close enough. He'll get those. Let's close our bomb bay doors. Move our bombardier back into the nose gun. Select our tail gunner. Hit R to have him resupply. And now set our heading back toward base. All right, looking at our goals up here, we have dropped the supplies and we have cleared the area of enemies, so we are safe to return to base. Let's take a look at everyone's health. Everyone seems to be in fairly good health. Our dorsal gunner took a little bit of damage there. Not so much that he needs to be healed, but let's go ahead and heal him anyway. We're going to select him and then hit F to automatically send him to the medical bed. You can also select him and then click on the medical bed, whichever you like. We've got a new nav marker. We're going to hit spacebar or middle mouse button to go to focus mode. And now we're heading back toward base. So again, this game is all about multitasking, right? But in these early missions, ease yourself into the multitasking is my recommendation. You don't have to multitask all these early missions. You can choose one thing to focus on at a time. Focus on your bombing run or focus on the incoming fighters. You don't have to focus on all of them. We've got a new navigation marker. Select that. Now we should be heading toward base. And since we're over friendly territory, we can speed up time. So again, a lot of multitasking going on here, but you don't have to multitask these early ones. A new nav marker. Now you see that I've just selected the radio operator here. You see that he's got a bunch of abilities that unlock as you go along. None of them are unlocked at this point. We've got a new nav marker. This one is for the runway itself, the airbase itself. As soon as you select the runway using focus with the spacebar or middle mouse button, your pilot will automatically set you up on a good approach for the runway. We can speed up time a little bit here until he gets on his final leg. When the runway actually comes into view, we're going to lower the landing gear. Lowering the landing gear does slow you down quite a bit, so we'll wait till the last second. All right, now we're lined up. And we're on final approach. So that's going to do it for this beginner's quick start guide. I'm going to be doing more videos looking at the more advanced aspects. Once you unlock a bunch of crew skills and abilities, things get even more hectic. But for now, that is your beginner's quick start guide. We are back at base safely. We have completed our mission successfully. And we have unlocked a bunch of new stuff. You get a bonus for not using the slow time feature, so good on me. If I continue, it'll show us that our crew is leveling up as well. Those that return safely. Unlocking new abilities for them and unlocking new upgrades for our plane and our crew equipment. We've unlocked armored fuselage, we've unlocked woolen gloves, leather boots for our crew. So there you go. Thanks very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and leave a like, and I'll be doing some more Bomber Crew. This was just a quick taste to get you started as a beginner. Thanks everybody. Take care, stay safe up there.